Who is Layla Santanello?
Layla Santanello is larger than life. She is a spitfire. She is fearless and strong. Her fearlessness terrified me a lot of the time.
So we are currently here at the AmeriCourt. We just arrived, and a bunch of witnesses, multiple people, claim to see Layla here the day of her disappearance. So we are here to see what we can get from the people.
Her absence is felt so tremendously. It's like a big black hole in our lives.
So how was Layla growing up?
So much energy, creativity, just bounding light, and she never met a stranger. She loved everybody she met. Teenagers can be rebellious. She did go through a very rebellious phase from like 15 to 17. She drove us crazy. Terrified us.
Do you have any theories or ideas of what you think happened to your daughter?
I have about a million theories. I, they roll through my head all day, every day. I don't have as much information as the authorities have to try and piece together what all really has gone down. However, I don't get the feeling that she's gone. I feel like she's still here somewhere. I just gotta find her.
What happened necessarily when you seen Layla, before she disappeared?
Well, I was sitting in the courtyard by my room, regular evening. It's pretty much evening time, between 4:30, 5:30 in there. And she had been just kind of going around and around, going through the foyer, hiding in the laundry room. I kept watching her only because she's barefoot and basically no ID, no reason to be in the laundry room, no laundry, just kind of watching behind her back, what's in front of her, very nervous. I looked really, really scared. I started running and I tried to get in front of her and say, look, there are people here that will help you. Whatever it is, just stop. And she was like, first, for maybe 5 seconds, she looked at me, thought about it, and then went, nah, and went running. Like, she didn't want to get me involved, or she was just scared.
And like I said, you speculate that she was 100% in distress. Like you could tell by just
I
looking
could,
at
yeah, it was definitely a young woman in distress, scared,
her.
who
Right.
runs around like that barefoot.
Do you have any, speculations of what possibly could have happened to her?
I already said them to the detective. There's definitely somebody running around here picking up young girls. 9 times out of 10, it's either involving drugs or human trafficking.
Did you ever have concern about the type of people Layla was surrounding herself with?
Yeah, we lost my dad a couple years ago, and it was very traumatic. Um, he was very, very sick and chose to end his own life and go out on his own terms, and it was awful for both of us. It tore us both up so bad. I watched her mental health go a little bit downhill, and then she started this new relationship and started shedding her friends for new friends that were more his friends.
Are you fond of her boyfriend?
Oh, that's a hard question. I tried. I really did. I'm a very open-minded person, and I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I try to look for the good in people. I'm really big on that. And I did do that for a long time. Her whole personality was beginning to change. And I don't want to say that it's his fault. It was the whole relationship as a whole that was causing that to happen.
What do you have to say to the people who believe you are exploiting your daughter for views and money?
Someone who had been through almost an exact situation had a phone conversation with me, I think back in the beginning of September. He was going over things that I could do. And one of the things he said was do every podcast, every interview, push out as much of your own posts and content as you possibly can with your daughter's face all over them. Because that's what's going to get you the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, coverage you need, you know.
And quite frankly, I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy the subject matter. I never wanted to be someone who people looked at every day. I never wanted to put my face in front of that camera. Those first few news interviews were terrifying. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, sure, but this never gets easy. There's a lot of pressure involved. I gotta be real careful what I say.
100%, yeah.
And I would 100% give it all away if you brought Layla to me right now.
You know, what has been the most difficult part about Layla being gone, and what's your healing process been like?
There is no healing. This is like living inside of a nightmare where a bomb is going off constantly. There is no fallout. It's just blast. All day, every day. I do find moments where I do have some joy and some laughter, but they're short-lived. It is constant grief and anxiety and worry and imagining where she is or what might have happened. It's fear and worry. And then you have to get up every day and still take your kids to school and change the baby's diaper and make dinner and do laundry. And it's incredibly difficult just to live your life under this amount of pain and pressure. I mean, and to heal would be to be going through a grieving process, but you can't go through a grieving process because you don't know. She may come back. You want to hope that she's coming back. If you go through the grieving process, are you giving up? A birthday has passed for her 21st birthday, and Layla's birthday was like Christmas to her. It was her favorite. It is her favorite holiday. Like, oh, that killed me, having to go through that day without her.
What's probably, you know, the weirdest part about the whole situation?
That we were told she was missing before she ever actually was. So I get this message on Saturday night, the 24th of June, from the boyfriend asking me if I know if Layla is in jail. And I respond with questions. And he doesn't respond back. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I go to bed. The next morning I wake up and I have messages on my phone from Layla. I'm okay, Mom, don't worry about me. I'm fine, I'm just a friend, I don't have a phone. I let it go, I go throughout the rest of my day. The next day, I get a new message from the boyfriend that's like, oh, you don't know what terrible things could happen to her out there in the world all alone. And like, just, I felt very strongly like he was trying to get me worked up. And we were able to track her, like where she was Friday, where she was Saturday, where she was Sunday, and then now it's Monday and no one can let us know like where she's at. So the boyfriend started posting missing person posts to Facebook on Sunday. Monday night, Layla's dad and I had a conversation about whether or not to call it in. It had just been a little over 24 hours since my last contact with her. So I was like, let's wait until morning, whatever. While we're having that conversation, I find out later, My daughter was at the AmeriCorps Hotel causing a ruckus of some sort. So she's not missing. We're talking about calling her in missing, but she's not missing yet. She was on camera there. Witnesses saw her there. It's crazy. And then her dad ends up not waiting for me. He goes ahead and does it in the middle of the night because he can't sleep. He's all worked up. That's fine. And they open an investigation. And while they were opening the investigation, she was asleep in a field behind the AmeriCorps Hotel. Detectives at 2 a.m. were at the boyfriend's house getting statements and information. She was asleep in that field.
So you just think there's a lot of stuff that's not necessarily adding up?
Yes.
Right.
I would say that for sure.
Do you maybe possibly think the boyfriend has something to do with this?
Some days I do, most days I don't. Reason being, he seemed to genuinely be looking for her in the weeks following. More so than I was even doing personally, because that first week I really thought she was just hiding from him.
Right.
And I was trying to kind of keep her safe and give her the time to process whatever it was she was trying to process. Right. But then, like, all kinds of other things that I can't talk about have also happened that have to do with him, that make me wonder other things. And, like, my mind goes back and forth constantly on so many theories and ideas and whodunits, and I don't like to point at people or give like definitive theories or speak theories as if they're fact. I don't want anyone else's life ruined. Mine already is.
Right, yeah.
And I would feel terrible to point a finger and find out later that that person had nothing to do with it and I destroyed their reputation.
Almost put you in a impossible predicament.
Yes.
Right, because you have your these situations to where something's looking this way. Do you call this person out? Do you say something about it? And if you don't, are you letting that go?
I know.
I completely understand what you mean there. Yeah, definitely leaves you in a tough spot. If Layla, was to be watching, somehow get a hold of this video, do you have any words to her?
I don't know how to continue to live my life without you in it. I do it every day for your brothers and for Nova Grace, but it's not the same. The empty space where you were is enormous. It's bigger than you'd ever think. Layla does have a daughter who is going to grow up, and she's going to view these things. And we don't know how this is going to end. So she may one day be viewing these things with her mother by her side, but she also may not. And so I just wish people would be respectful when they comment and say things and share things, and because it will affect that little girl someday. Yeah. And that's answering those questions for her when the time comes. That's something that I'm dreading. It's one of many motivators as far as why I do what I do, because I don't want to have to answer those questions. I want to find her.